Every time this team takes 10 steps forward, so is 5 steps back. All the damn time. I have a lot to discuss regarding this win against the Jacksonville Jaguars. I don't know how long it's going to be. I'm going to reminisce because this really has to be said. So here we go.
A killer buried, but not dead.
Darren, we better turn around. Because I've seen enough horror movies to know any weirdo wearing a mask is never friendly.
This video is sponsored by BetUS. It has been a rough road for the Philadelphia Eagles this season for all Eagle fans. Will the Eagles rise to the occasion or continue to play down to the competition? If I'm going all in, giving it my all for a Super Bowl, I'm going to bet $500 and get $7,000 back at the end of the year, and we still stay true to the team that we believe in. But will the problems continue? We will find out. Make sure to check out BetUS. Get a 150% deposit bonus on your first 3 deposits up to $2,000 with promotion code YouTube150. I want to thank BetUS for sponsoring this live stream or video, and let's get back to the content. Well, here we are, another week of football. And the Eagles are 6-2. The Eagles beat the Jacksonville Jaguars 28-23. And I got to say, Kelly Green, awesome, fantastic. LaShawn McCoy retiring at halftime. Finally retiring the number. Guys, I don't know how many times we have to go through this, man. This potential to what this roster can do is just going to be held back. And I don't even want to think that going into this Jaguars game, I told you so. But to be honest with you, you're going into this Jaguars game, not a great team at 2-6, whatever they were coming into this game. Top 10 against the pass, 10, almost dead last against the pass, top 10 against the run. Almost dead last and, giving up points for their defense. I mean, there was just so much going into this game. And the one thing that was the constant factor that kept taking us down, taking us backwards was Nick Sirianni. I can go through all 4 quarters, but we're just going to go switch back and forth and go all over the place because Nick Sirianni is the reason why we didn't score an extra 9 points in this game with 2 potential field goals that could have been made. And obviously, 3 2-point conversions. The brotherly shove, that's one of the most overrated plays. I'm tired of seeing it. Please stop doing it. Okay, when the Eagles, if you want to just fast forward, really, because really by the beginning of the game, the Eagles had somewhat of a slowish type start. The Jaguars fumbled on special teams. The Eagles took advantage of that situation, and we actually scored points in the first quarter. That really, this was our main concern, was scoring in the first quarter. Then you were pretty much by the end of the second half, you were up 22-0. You were feeling really good about yourself. Okay. Those missed opportunities by Nick Sirianni, the extra points and everything else like that, potential field goals being made, it really caught up to us. Obviously, the play with Saquon Barkley, not Saquon Barkley. We'll talk about Saquon Barkley in a minute. But that second half, obviously, where, the Eagles, are doing a great job. The Jaguars finally getting down the field on us in a few plays. The defense went in total passive mode. I don't get why the Eagles do this. They've done this in the past in this system. If they're up multiple touchdowns, they always play in passive mode. But I always was wondering during this game that those few points that were left off the board were going to come back and haunt us at some point. Why do you not step on their necks? Why do you allow teams to come back and do this? This is 2022 all over again with this type of shit, with this defense. There were rumors that Nick told Fangio to play like this in the second half. I'm not going to believe anything until I see something that's reported on it. But if you want to step on somebody's neck and hold your foot there so they can't breathe and make them quit and make them tap out, this is the perfect opportunity to do it. And, I can't really complain about the defense too much because they did what they were supposed to do in this game. But obviously being very passive in that second half really pissed me off entirely. Okay, The Jaguars score their first touchdown in the second half. Okay, getting back on the field for the Eagles offense. Saquon Barkley runs with the football. Okay, and then obviously gets touched, trips, goes to the ground, elbow hits, loses the football, and the referees make one of the worst calls I have ever seen. Blatantly in your face. You could see the guy everyone thought he fumbled on his own. He got touched. He was down. Elbow hit the ground. Ball came out. Pick up, fumble, score by Travon Walker. It was reviewed. The replay was reviewed. And they still called it a touchdown. And Eagle fans started pointing the finger at everything else. That was just a really bad call by the ref. Horrible. Just God horrible. Okay? It's not Jalen Hurts' fault. It's not Nick's fault. It's not anybody's fault. That's just a really bad call by the ref. So I tried to erase that from my mind. Let's move on. So they scored twice. That easily. So we're back to not only is it 22-0, but now it's a football game now. Now we're in a game because of literally 2 minutes. We're back. They're back in the game now. Okay. Eagles go down the field. This is where I was feeling pretty good. We're going down the field. The Eagles do the push-tush. I think that's what it was. No, I don't know what it was, actually. I'm trying to remember. But it was 4th and inches. At one point. I think the Eagles tried to do the tush or something like that. They didn't get there, and it was 4th and inches. In field goal range. Could have kicked the field goal. Could have done a push-tush. I would have rather went for a push-tush. But you drop back on a play-action fake on 4th and inches. And when they didn't get that, Jalen Hurts running for his life, and just, I don't know if he got sacked on that play or he threw it or he just, I don't know. I think he took the sack on there. So then at that moment, those points that we left off the board on top of these 4th down decisions, okay, that 4th and inches, that was my boiling point. That was my breaking point of this game. It's like Nick went into this game, he was handed the analytics and he said, holy shit. This team is really bad against the pass. So let's just be aggressive as we can possibly get. And let me show Doug Peterson how to be really aggressive. It's like he was showing Doug up at this game or something. I don't know. It was really weird. So he said, you know what? Let me take more control. This is going to work. Analytics only get you so far. But at the end of the day, and I'm losing my voice. I'm sorry if I sound weird right now. Analytics only get you so far. All right. The down and distance play calling, situational down and distance play calling, it just doesn't make sense with this coach. I am so pissed off that he was allowed, as usual, to call a game like this. By the way that I am talking right now, it's making it seem like we lost this game. We did not. I am glad we're 6-2. But why are we reverting back to this fucking bullshit yet again? Still. Why are we reverting to Nick? Nick, the last 2 weeks, has been fantastic. He hasn't been too hands-on. He's taken a step back. That's where I respected him a lot more. But now, yet again, his hands are caught in the cookie jar, red-handed, and he is literally keeping points off the board. Not to mention, finally, Jake Elliott, because he was bored all day. He probably could have made lunch, dinner, breakfast. He's cold. You put him out there cold because he hasn't done anything all day. 57-yard field goal. And he missed it. I can't even blame him for that. How can I blame him for that? So you get out of this game 28-23. Thank God for Nakobe Dean on a 1st and 10 where Trevor Lawrence and that Jaguars offense could have ran a bunch of other plays to at least tie the game, go for a 2 points. Score and get a 2-point conversion to literally win this or to tie it, I should say. Okay. So like I said, dude, I'm shocked that we saw that. But what did I say before this game? I said, do not overlook this team. The players weren't overlooking this freaking team. This head coach was overlooking that the Jaguars couldn't do anything because of these statistical analytics that he literally read up and said, oh, I could pass all day and I could do this and I could be aggressive the whole game because they're not going to do anything. Look at their statistics. Look at their analytics. I thought the Jaguars front was really good. They were out 2 receivers. Or maybe even 3. I think only 2. Etienne came back for this game. Literally, the Jaguars only had 31 yards of offense in the first half. But because the offense didn't take the points when they were supposed, make things simple. Take the points. What are you trying to fucking prove? This is why there are teams out there that are not better than us on paper. Roster-wise, they don't look better than us, but situationally, they look better than us, and they don't look below average because they play smarter than us. When Nick has too much control in this offense, we look average at best. How the hell do this gets reverted back to Nick? So what, if we face a bad team, that's how he's going to be? He's going to say, oh, I'm just going to do everything my way in this game and be so damn aggressive. I mean, even Doug was aggressive, but holy shit. Learn your place, dude. Learn your place not to screw with any. He cannot help himself for 2 minutes. He can't help himself. The 4th and inches play was my boiling point. I know we missed some early 2-point conversions in the first half, and I was kind of ignoring it. I was like, you know what? We're up 22-0. And then all this happened in the second half. And it was a football game all of a sudden, right? Man, dude, I can't believe this guy actually called this game like this. I'm telling you, I swear to God, how do players not get pissed at this? I really don't. I really don't. Okay? Jalen Hurts, right? I thought Jalen had a great game. A few passes that were bad, but every quarterback has a few bad passes. It happens. Okay. One, I think they left points off the board one time. I think it was Hurts' fault. This was the pass to A.J. Brown on the 10-yard line. Darnell Savage actually deflected it. But if you watch the replay to that pass to A.J. Brown, he actually could have led him to a bigger. He had so much room towards that sideline, could have thrown that in front of him. I don't know why he didn't. A.J. had to come back for the ball. It got deflected. I think they would have scored on that drive. So not only the 3 2-point conversions, a couple field goals, I mean, that's like 17 points you left off the board in this game. People are saying 9, but I think it's more. I think it's like 17, to be honest with you. Would have been up a lot more. But other than that, when you're bad on 3rd down and you're bad on 4th down and you're redoing the same plays, okay, like take this for instance, okay, Saquon Barkley, oh my God, did you see him on breaking those 3 tackles, the reverse jump through his legs? I mean, holy crap, I was like, what is this, man? Saquon Barkley made one guy miss, spun around another guy, and then reverse jumped over somebody. It was something I've never seen before. Saquon Barkley has 925 yards already. Okay. 27 for 159. Okay. He had 27 touches rushing today. He probably had over 31. Okay, he touched the ball 31 times. He had a rushing touchdown. He had a receiving touchdown. The rushing touchdown, 3rd and 17. The big receiving touchdown, fantastic. So, Saquon Barkley, they need to be careful. Gainwell did nothing in this game. So what happens? You already ran with Saquon Barkley 22 times against the Giants. You just let him touch the ball 31 times in this game, 27 times. That is way too much. They have to do something here. Gainwell did absolutely nothing in this game. He had a couple first downs. I remember the first quarter, that drive. The Eagles were on a 3rd and 2. Saquon went out. Gainwell went in. and he literally hit a brick wall and just fell. He just fell to the ground. Gainwell is an average back at best, okay? In a rhythm, sometimes Gainwell has those big rushing moments, but statistically and just as who he is as a back, it's not his fault. It's how the Eagles value that number 2 running back position. I feel like they do have to trade for somebody, a running back. I think I agree with that 100% because I think there's a big drop-off from Saquon to your number 2 running back. Will Shipley, why is he not getting the opportunity he deserves here? He fits Kellen Moore's system more than Gainwell will ever fit because he's got that dual threat presence. He's got that after the catch speed. Gainwell is not that. So because you're not using Will Shipley and because you're barely doing anything with Gainwell, Saquon had to touch the ball a lot of times. You're keeping this running back for another 2 years after this year. He has got to be saved, okay? You cannot run him that much. He had 15 carries, I think, the first half, which was fine. But that second half, they really had to rely on him tremendously. So I think that's got to stop. That's really got to stop. You got 2 games. You have the Cowboys on Sunday. You have a big game against Washington on Thursday night. You cannot run him that much. Okay, so they should get another back that fits the mold, trade for another back. The Eagles did it in 2017. The Eagles used 3-4 backs that year. It's possible you can do it, depending on how the roster and what they want to do. So Saquon had a monster day. Fantastic. It was entertaining. It was fantastic. It was awesome. So really happy with Saquon Barkley. Now the receivers, obviously A.J. Brown left with a knee injury in this game, which now you're starting to get really fucking nervous because I think you're able to afford to lose A.J. Brown in that Cowboys game. I think you just don't have to play him in that game. I think you just have to run the ball and do some other things. Devontae Smith. Oh my God. The big 3rd and 22 play, the one-handed catch. That's almost as great as Garrett Wilson's catch that we seen on Thursday night against the Houston Texans. That was almost as great. I think that catch looked greater. The concentration, his 2 feet still sitting in bounds from catching that ball with one hand. It was absolutely amazing to see. Okay, and then had that big 3rd down on that play action pass on the left sideline. I'll have to say this, guys. Play action works. It works when you're running really well. Because last year when the Eagles barely ran the football, they would run play action so much, but teams weren't biting on it. That 3rd and 22 was a play action, I think. Teams bid on it. Devontae had that extra step on Ronald Darby, and he had a couple of big catches in this game. You know, I felt like the last few weeks, besides the big catch, we didn't really see Devontae Smith that much until like the end of the game or like the middle of the second half. Like, he's been like disappearing in this offense, not because of him as a player, but just how they do these plays and what they're doing. So Devontae Smith, I thought, my God, man, give him the ball a lot more. Jahan Dotson had a big day, a big catch. I don't know how many yards it was, but it was a big contested catch. He kind of like deflected it up in the air, and then he caught it again. It was nice to see him just do some swagger towards the camera a little bit as an Eagle for the first time. I was really happy to see that. But why are these wide receiver 3s like so? I mean, you trade a 3rd and a 7th for this guy. You don't do anything with him. Why am I seeing the Commanders with Yanni Brown and Olamide Zaccheaus? I mean, Olamide Zaccheaus is the number 3 receiver in Washington, and he's a big part of the offense. Why can't they write him into the offense every week? I just don't get it, especially because A.J. Brown is hurt now. Sorry, Hurts, but the chemistry has got to be there. And sorry, coaches, like, you got to get these guys involved because you can't just throw it at Devontae Smith the whole entire game. It's not going to happen. You know what I mean? So Jahan Dotson, good catch where it mattered the most. Fantastic. I just want to see more. Johnny Wilson had an OPI called on him on a touchdown. And, I was really happy for Johnny Wilson. Didn't expect he was going to go out for a pass. They found him open. He's 6'7". He's got size. Like, Unfortunately, Nick thought it was a bunch of BS, that call, just by the look on his face what had happened. But it's unfortunate. It is what it is. Johnny Wilson, I'm very excited for him. I mean, a guy at his size that can that's fast, that can be used in red zone. We talked about it, of what they could do with him. It seems like he's getting more involved, which is awesome. Calcaterra, I thought, had a pretty good game. I know they checked down to the tight ends a couple times. Calcaterra's been pretty damn good, I gotta say, because he's been like the only healthy tight end that we have right now until Goddard comes back. And obviously, Albert O, I think, finally came back. I know Jack Stahl is used as a blocker in some cases, so that's with that. Offensive line wise, protection was okay. Fred Johnson was having some trouble. I could see it. There was some penalties with the offensive line, illegal man upfield. There were some drive killers, some delay of games, some false starts. We had some penalties that really hurt us on some drives. Some of it resulted into great plays. Some of them resulted into absolutely nothing. So, Fred Johnson's been going through his growing pains. Mekhi Becton, I thought he did pretty good. I mean, honestly, I feel like Tyler Steen has played better, to be honest, the last few weeks. Mekhi Becton had some issues with some of the run block. I don't know, some things here and there, but it's nothing bad. I think they're all playing great. Fred Johnson is always due up for the challenge every single week, so we'll see how he does. The two things they did differently for this offense in this game, that, Kellen Moore is starting to release some different things here and there. Now, we know that Ben Van Simmeren actually left this game with a concussion. Now, I don't know if it was on the pass in, but they actually passed the ball today to a fullback, which is fantastic. We know this past week or last week, they mentioned that Ben Van Simmeren is going to have a bigger role on this offense because he's an athletic freak. I mean, I think he could definitely be a fullback or something like that. They've been using him that way. There were some instances they used Anaya Smith on some plays. Why are they? I mean, look, I get it, but it's like, dude, get Jahan Dotson more involved. Why is Anaya Smith even playing over him or even having more snaps or more opportunities? They're using Anaya Smith on an end around that really went nowhere. They use Anaya Smith. This was 3rd and 22, guys. This was a Fred Johnson false start, backed up 3rd and 22, and then they run Anaya Smith on a screenplay. Oh, a typical screen on 3rd and long from Sirianni. Oh, great. This is what they usually do all the damn time. Anaya Smith, just came back last week. I know they're trying to get him involved. It's just enough with the Anaya Smith. Like, he can only produce what he can produce right now. Unfortunately, we have to wait another year for Anaya Smith. Get Jahan Dotson involved. He's more of a priority. You gave up fucking picks for him. Can you please get him involved? So, regarding those wide receivers, because you have 2 division games in 1 week on Sunday at 4 o'clock and that Thursday night game, I think you save A.J. Brown. Okay, you don't play A.J. Brown. You try to get other guys, you try to incorporate other guys, and you're hoping to God you come out of Dallas with no more injuries because we don't need any more right now, okay? Everybody's injured at this point. This is what happens. So this is where you're at. Defensively for the Philadelphia Eagles, I saw some really good things. I mean, the defensive line. So it looks like Bryce Huff only had like 5-6 snaps because apparently he had a hand injury or he got hurt during warmups. Yes, Bryce Huff got hurt during warmups. So he only played like 5-6 snaps. They took him out. So Josh Sweat had a couple sacks. Jalen Carter stuffed the guy in the middle. Jordan Davis didn't really see much. Brandon Graham missed a tackle, but there were some good pressures though. I thought Nolan Smith contained well on the outside. There were some good things, but guys, we don't have our Hassan Reddick. We don't have a closer. We know when Jacksonville is on the field the last minute and a half, they have to literally score and get a 2-point conversion to tie the game up or whatever it is. We used to have that guy that we could count on that's going to be a menace on that defensive line. And let me tell you, the Eagles don't have it. So by Tuesday, by 4 p.m., the trade deadline is over with. You're hoping to God that, I don't care, get somebody from the Jaguars. The Jaguars actually have a couple of good pass rushers. rushers. Trade for one of them. Trevon Walker, we talked about him a million times. Somebody, I don't know, somebody that can produce the next few years and that could help this season and beyond if that could happen. So when I notice 100%, yeah, I mean, they were getting in his face. They were pressuring him. They were chasing him all over the place. The sack numbers weren't there, but I thought it was not too bad. But they still, like, the biggest missing void they have, that edge rush position, they need somebody badly. Like, I think desperately now. It's just not enough. Cornerback wise, Quinyon Mitchell, I thought, played a good game. I think he was only targeted once or twice. That's why you didn't hear his name at all. Isaiah Rodgers, he gave up that big 4th and 14, whatever it was. That didn't look great. There was a couple plays that didn't look too great. Isaiah Rodgers gave his receiver way too much cushion. Just horrible. So, I thought he was fine other than that, but not a big deal. Cooper DeJean is a superstar made in the heavens. And let me tell you, okay, this man should not be a nickel corner after this year. This year, they have to use him. They have no choice. Avonte Maddox came into the game 1 or 2 plays, and they targeted him. Evan Ingram was on him, and literally they targeted him. Avonte Maddox is god horrible. Cooper DeJean, the fake QB draw on the 3rd and short or the 4th down play, whatever it was. I think it was the 4th down play. The fake QB draw, or the QB sneak up the middle. He kind of came back out. He threw the ball. DeJean, boom, stop. Another 3rd down play. DeJean, boom, stop. Sticky coverage. It's crazy. Even on that 4th and 14 for Isaiah Rodgers, now DeJean actually saw that play from the other side. If you watch it, DeJean knew what was going on the whole time. What I can tell from DeJean is he's a big, high IQ type player. It's unfortunate he's more in a reaction type defense right now, but Cooper DeJean, man, is fantastic. Now, let's talk about these damn linebackers. We got something to talk about with these linebackers because Nakobe Dean, oh my God. Now, Dean had 2 tackles, 1 pick, and 2 pass deflections. This was Dean's best game as regarding to coverage, because that's been one of his biggest weaknesses. Now, what I heard from after this game is that Dean has actually been in the building a lot more, has been spending time overnights looking at film and really getting better on the field on things he would normally get beat by. Now, Dean has said he was beaten by, Gainwell a lot during camp, and certain coverages he just couldn't keep up with. But he had that game-saving pick right at the end, man. Just went up and got, I think Trevor Lawrence overthrew it. And this was a 1st and 10 play. And Nakobe Dean went up and grabbed it. It was absolutely amazing. I was so happy for him to get that. A linebacker in Philadelphia. These 2 linebackers we have right now, and Dean and Bond were the highest graded pretty much last week. And they balled out this week too. Linebackers never looked so great, obviously with Trotter behind, just sitting there. So Dean played good. Zach Bond had 10 tackles, a tackle for loss, 2 pass deflections. Damn, man. Wow. I thought he had a pick in this game too. I thought Bond had a pick. I could be wrong though. I thought he did for some reason. I don't know why. Zach Bond this is a Pro Bowl caliber. This is a Pro Bowl caliber game that he had today. He is in serious trouble, not in a bad way, in a good way, to where he is a big re-sign candidate. Do not turn this into a TJ Edwards situation. This man is all over the field. This guy can chase after the quarterback. Just remember, he was a role player for the Saints last year. He was a edge rusher turned into an outside linebacker. That could play middle linebacker now. Got his first forced fumble last week in his career. He's never done that in his career. This is Fangio's protege player. Out of nowhere in free agency, nobody would have thought this would even have been. I didn't even care about the signing. And look what it turned into. Zach Bond is a menace to society, to the NFL. One of the best linebackers in the league right now. Can't believe I'm even saying that. Had a fantastic game. Fantastic. Okay. Both linebackers, hell of a job. Safety. Chauncey has been really bad in some of his coverages, especially in fucking red zone. I got to say, I'm I don't think he should be traded or anything like that. Like, he's gonna have his games, but man, like Chauncey and his coverage ability, sometimes it's really. He got beat by a practice squad player that was just elevated to the active roster the other day. That white dude, I forgot what his name was. Okay, but he got beat a few times. Then he got beat on a touchdown as well. He got beat 3 times in the same spot in the end zone. I don't know how, about 3 times this season. I know the Saints had one up on him in that game as well. But Chauncey had a little bit of a difficult time. I thought Reed Blanchard was good against run support. Obviously, with the coverage, sometimes it was a little shaky at times, but I think he's fine. I wasn't worried about that. I think partially for this defense, the only question I have is, why are you playing so soft in the second half? Why, if you have the chance to step on somebody's neck and keep your foot there and have them give up and yell for help and be like, I give up, why are you letting these teams, you're trying to let them waste time. Make sure it doesn't matter how many yards they get, as long as you tackle them inbounds in front of you. It doesn't matter if they get 20 yards. Just don't let them get behind you. And that's really the rule to this defense when you have a lead. And I can't stand it. I don't like it. It allowed the Jaguars to get back. Especially, why would you even allow to run a defense so passive like this in the second half, on top of Nick Sirianni going on 4th down from field goals to 2-point conversions to horrible situational play calling, not getting points on the board? You would still play a soft defense like this in the second half. It makes no sense to me why you would still do that. So, overall, I'm very upset over Nick. I'm very disappointed that he would actually take control like he did in this game, because it was a bad team and he thought he could just do whatever the fuck he wants in this offense. And that's where I'm really sad about it. Thought the defense played well, but I think you still need to go into this trade deadline and seriously go after an edge rusher. Somebody that's going to at least produce. I'm not looking for a superstar. I'm looking for somebody that is going to catch some attention from an offensive standpoint. Someone's going to get some attention from this guy. I think you need that closer. You don't have it here. Okay, it'd be nice to just have somebody there. But unfortunately, I think they need to dip into it. I think they need to get another running back, because Saquon Barkley, this is where he's going to be fatigued. He's going to get hurt because of fatigue. And you have a big drop-off. If you're not going to use Will Shipley in this offense, go trade for a Miles Sanders. Go get Hubbard from the Panther. Go get somebody to take the load off Saquon, because Saquon can't run for over 22 times on Sunday against the Cowboys and another 20-something times, 30 times again. Saquon Barkley is slated to have over 500 fucking touches. That's ridiculous. That cannot happen. That man will not survive in Philadelphia. Health-wise, his body will deteriorate. He will be a walking hospital boot in 2 years. By next season, he'll be in a walking hospital boot. His whole body will be in a body cast by that time. Can't do it. Can't do that. So, I was feeling real comfortable in the first half. Second half came, things changed dramatically, and the Eagles almost fumbled this fucking victory. They almost fumbled this victory. They almost did. And, what are we going to get this week? If the Eagles face a bad team statistically on offense and defense, that means what? Sirianni's going to take control. I did not like how he did that. And he kept doing it. It's not even like he said, let's just take the point. I mean, why? What are you looking at? Are you looking at something, or are you just playing fucking stupid? Because that's what he is. It's like, I like Nick. I went from hating Nick last year, hating Nick beginning of the year, liking Nick, and being like, oh man, I guess people can change the last couple weeks. And then he reverts back to being Mr. Control Freak Nick Sirianni. Yet again. But the Eagles won. Do not waste this roster for what it really can be, because all you're doing is hurting yourself. No, the Eagles aren't going to fire the Eagles aren't going to fire Nick Sirianni. It's not going to happen. You don't have to fire him. All he has to do is just this. He just has to move back, stay back, take a step back, breathe the fresh air. That's it. That's all he needs to do. You don't just fire a guy. It's never going to happen just because it's going to decimate the roster mentally if that happens. If you want to ruin your season, fire a head coach. Yes, Nick is a dumbass. I get it, but it's not the smart move to do. As much as it makes sense, trust me, I'd handcuff him in the locker room on game day so he can't come out and even try to call a play or make an adjustment. But the trade deadline is huge. The Eagles get a big win. It's a big win. It's still a win. But at the end of the day, I'm not going to say a win is a win. We're fine. Now I got to see if Nick is going to be hands off next game. This is the most aggressive game I have ever seen this coach. Ever. You know why? Because this team was coming in statistically very bad. Very bad. And you know what? The Jags front was a lot tougher than I expected, actually. It was a lot tougher. That pass rush was a lot tougher than I thought. They played a lot of prevent against Hurts, so Hurts can hold on to the ball a lot longer. So he couldn't throw into any big windows. They didn't want to give up the big play, so they were smart on their part for that. So what did we do? We checked the ball down, we ran the football, and then the play-action pass was integrated to create those big plays. You have to earn those big plays. So it worked out. But Nick is now on my shit list yet again. What do you guys think about this game, the 28-23 win over the Jacksonville Jaguars? Do you want Nick fired? Do you think he will stop? Do you think he will keep this going? You guys let me know in the comment section below. Make sure you subscribe to the channel for more Eagles news every single day. Make sure you like this video because it helps out the channel out tremendously. And this is almost a 40-minute video. This is way too long. So I apologize. Apologize so much. You guys enjoy the rest of your day. I need to relax. You guys enjoy it. Rest my voice. Rest your voice. Rest your thoughts. And I'll see you guys on the next one. Shake some up, follow. Peace out, guys. Peace.